right now, the Prodigy takes on a young man making his ROH television debut. That's Adam Page.
There we go. Kid's really proving something to me here, Kev.
Spears him right in the center. No! 2, 3. Now, wait a minute now. What is this? What is Brutal Bob doing, Nigel?
There's no need for this.
Oh, what a slug. Look out, it's Eddie Edwards! Eddie Edwards down here, giving it to both Brutal Bob and the Prodigy.
There you go, Eddie.
You're only out here because you couldn't beat me. You can't beat any former champion. Hell, you can't even beat Brutal Bob. Next week on TV, why don't you take Brutal Bob one-on-one?
Wait a second.
Did I just hear that correctly?
You get Bob out of his nursing home, feed him all of his pills, and I'll gladly beat his ass, Die Hard style.
This is Ring of Honor.
From the Dew Burns Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, welcome to Ring of Honor Wrestling. I'm Kevin Kelly alongside former ROH World Champion Nigel McGuinness. And Nigel, on the eve of the biggest match in Davey Richards' career, he and Kyle O'Reilly take on Kevin Steen and Jimmy Jacobs tonight in our TV main event.
But before we got there, we just saw the events of last week that led to this foul old wanker, Brutal Bob Evans, getting to wrestle Eddie Edwards here tonight.
Things are about to change.
Well, there he is.
Like they should have a long time ago. Eddie Edwards, this old man's gonna hand you the beat of your life.
For the first time, we will see Brutal Bob Evans step into Ring of Honor competition. He has not been a stranger to action, though, especially on the outside. But he's competed for near 18 years. I think that robe, what may have been worn back in the 40s, but nonetheless, Brutal Bob is here and he's set to go. Let's go to Bobby Cruz.
This match is set for one fall. In the ring, being accompanied by the Prodigy, Mike Bennett, and the First Lady of ROH, Maria Kanellis, wrestling out of South Boston, Massachusetts, weighing 245 pounds, Brutal Bob Evans.
Nigel, he's not going to wrestle with that foul cigar in his mouth, is he?
Well, I hope not. It looks like Apollo Creed wore that in Rocky 2.
Well, Eddie Edwards is going to look to make quick work of this one because Edwards is trying to stay in the title picture. He's been challenging and defeating ex-world champions. He also defeated Bennett last time they fought. So as we saw last week, Bennett challenged him saying, "You couldn't even beat Brutal Bob." Now Evans has to make good on that.
And there's a history between them as well. More on that in a moment.
His opponent, wrestling out of Boston, Massachusetts, weighing 211 pounds, Die Hard, Eddie Edwards.
So it's Brutal Bob Evans against Die Hard Eddie Edwards. And wait a minute.
That wasn't a bad approach. Try and get an advantage.
Yeah, we can forget about the tail of the tape or the code of honor because Brutal Bob is going right after him.
And he's a grizzled old veteran. Let's not take anything away from him. I just don't think he can compete with a world-class athlete. You've got to remember, Bob hasn't wrestled for a long time.
Well, he certainly hasn't. And of course, Brutal Bob Evans, known notoriously within the industry for these rough and rugged, just downright nasty training camps that he runs. That's where the Prodigy came from. Years ago, he made overtures to have Die Hard Eddie Edwards be one of his trainees. And Edwards said, "No dice, pal. I don't want any of your kind." And Evans never forgot it. Closing the distance in quickly is Eddie Edwards. So we are on the eve of Best in the World. It's this weekend in New York City. Be a part of the action live at the Hammerstein Ballroom or check it out on pay-per-view. Go to Ring of Honor Wrestling's website, ROHWrestling.com. Did Bob just run through Edwards with a shoulder block? My goodness.
I don't know if it caught on the camera there, but there was a distraction by Bennett on the outside. That gave Bob the advantage, and he took it. Give him his dues. Interesting trunks he's wearing there. If he used to be a swimmer.
Certainly did. A very old school approach, very old school attire. And he kind of looks like Baron von Raschke in there.
I'm going for Iron Mike Sharp. Both big guys.
They certainly were.
It's definitely a throwback to a different generation.
Well, he's crusty. He's a nasty old cuss. That's what people who have competed against him say. He was trained in brutal confines 20 years ago. Competed in over 1,000 matches, and he said it was near 7,500 days, I think he said, since his first big match in his career.
All right.
He said it was 7,397 days. What kind of guy keeps track of something like that?
Right, he's definitely, like I said, he's got an axe to grind. He's a bitter old man because he didn't make it in the wrestling business, so he's trying to take it out on young guys who are doing very well for themselves.
He's lived vicariously through the Prodigy and all of his successes. Of course, the lovely Maria Kanellis, the First Lady of ROH, now a constant companion for Bennett as well. And they have had a great recipe for success. But Bennett is kind of on the outside looking into the world title picture right now. Of course, that will get great clarity coming up at Best in the World. It's Richards versus Kevin Steen. Sunset Flip. Brutal Bob's shoulders are down, but look at the innovative way that Brutal Bob is able to switch.
Very nice.
Turn peril into opportunity.
A lot of times you'll see that with old school wrestlers that just learn the basics, learn how to get out of hold, into hold with such ease. We saw it with Finley back there in Toronto, and hopefully we'll see it again New York City.
Look out Pittsburgh as well, because we're coming your way on June 30th. We honor the legend Bruno Sammartino, plus Roderick Strong, world title opportunity. Will he face Davey Richards or Kevin Steen? That will be settled at Best in the World. But Pittsburgh comes alive on the 30th.
Shades of Kenta Kobashi in the corner there.
And multiple shades of red is Brutal Bob's chest, courtesy of Die Hard.
Whoa.
The Hurricane Rana there nearly turned Evans right on his skull. And for a foul, obnoxious old crusty veteran, he certainly fought with some guts here. But now the missile dropkick scores. 2.
Look at Evans' chest, nearly turned into a mash of hamburger by those vicious chops.
And despite the fact that the Prodigy has been at ringside the entire time, he has not been a real factor in this one, albeit one distractionary effort early on. Where is Edwards going? Brutal Bob trying to figure it out. Now creating some distance.
Oh, so dangerous! Did you see that?
Landed right on top of Evans.
If you saw his feet, they were inches away from the top of the guardrail. That could have broken his ankle, and so close to Best in the World.
You see the scars on the back there of Die Hard Eddie Edwards. That was courtesy of Brutal Bob Evans in the first ever encounter between the Prodigy and Edwards here on television. Now, double stomp, no. Going for another big shoulder block, but into the Achilles lock.
Into the Achilles lock, Bennett up.
Look at Bennett now, he's up on the apron. Roll up, wait a minute, rolls through. Backslide, shoulders down, 2, got it!
There you go.
The winner of the match, Die Hard, Eddie Edwards!
Watch out from behind! Bennett pounding away on Die Hard.
Well, there's no need for this. There's strengths in numbers. I don't like Eddie's chances out there.
Just stomping away now. Edwards had come to the assistance recently of others.
Wait, who's that?
What?
What is that? Is that is?
What?
Homicide!
It's Homicide! Homicide is here!
The gangster from the Rotten Apple!
He faces Eddie Edwards at Best in the World, but Homicide is here now! Oh, yeah! Homicide giving it to both Brutal Bob and the Prodigy! Homicide shocking everybody by coming to the aid of the man he will face next Sunday at Best in the World. Homicide!
Well, a Ring of Honor legend wanted to do it the right way.
Homicide back in Ring of Honor, coming to the aid of diehard Eddie Edwards, and I'm sure that that's the last person that Edwards ever thought he would see.
There you go.
Great respect there. Homicide, former world champion, facing off against Edwards next Sunday at Best in the World. Calling for the Code of Honor, and this is a great moment. This is a great moment. So these two men will face off next Sunday at Best in the World. The Die Hard Challenge Series continues. Wait a... What the... No!
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 Eddie!
Oh, the Ringo killer! My God! Eddie Edwards has just been crumpled in half!
I don't believe it. Dropped him right on the top of his head.
What is this? We have got to try to straighten this situation out. Fans, we'll be back. Stay with us.